On behalf of Keller Pacific, I want to welcome everybody to the BIM 360 Docs webinar. My name is Chris Clifford. I'm a former contractor project manager, having worked in the healthcare and commercial construction sectors. I'm now the BIM 360 product manager for Keller Pacific, and today we'd like to show you a new product from Autodesk called BIM 360 Docs. I know from experience that ensuring that your entire job team is working from the same set of drawings can be a challenge. Unfortunately, it's not uncommon to walk out in the field and see a contractor building off the wrong set of plans. And that's a problem, of course. It can have major ramifications on cost and schedule. It just causes problems with project flow and trust between team members. So the BIM 360 Docs product we'll be demonstrating today is Autodesk's vision for how to solve this problem by creating a cloud-based solution that provides access to the latest drawings and submittals and project documents to everyone on the job team. So we're going to go through the key features of the software, including the automated title block recognition and versioning feature that happens when you upload documents. We'll talk about permissions, how we can create issues and markups on the drawings, show you the native model viewer built into the software, and as well as document comparison. So first of all, let's start off with the basic interface and navigation. So this is what BIM 360 Docs looks like when you first log in. Over here to the left, this is the navigation pane, and in the navigation pane you have a couple things. Up here at the top you have what are called hard-coded folders, and we'll talk about those in just a second. And down below you have user-generated folders. And there's a difference between the two. Now, first of all, the user-created folders are just that. They're folders that you can create and store whatever information you want that's relative to your project. And it's not just PDFs. We can store models here and any kind of file that we need to up in these folders. And it's very simple to create a new folder. You simply add a subfolder and type in what you'd like to call it. And now you can add subfolders to these folders as well, and as whatever it is that you need to satisfy your project. Up at the top here we have hard-coded folders. And the reason I say they're hard-coded is because you can't delete or rename these folders. These folders are where your latest and greatest documents will go. These are where you'll do your versioning or your digital slipsheeting. And there's some automated tools that work in the background to help you do that. And we'll get into that just a little bit more when we demonstrate the upload process. But as I click here on plans, you'll see all the plans available to me these are the latest and greatest drawing sets. That's the intention here. And so below that you have shop drawings, which is identical in view, and it will have all the shop drawings that have been approved for the project. And these of course are accessible to the entire project team. That's the intent. You want your entire project team looking at and viewing the same version of the drawings. So let's talk about the document list here. This is the document list, and it's viewable in a couple of different ways. We're viewing it right now in list view. We also have a thumbnail view. And the thumbnail view is nice because it'll give you a little snapshot of what the sheet looks like. This is good for searching through a document and being able to view quickly where approximately you are in the drawing set. Also with the thumbnail view as well as with the list view, down here at the bottom right of the thumbnail you have the version of the drawing. So in this case we know that this drawing, there's two versions of this drawing that have been uploaded. We can see the drawing name, who uploaded it, and what date and time. If I go back to list view, you'll see the same correlating information here. Also with the document list, these are the headers above with the relevant information below, but you can add your own attributes to a document by simply clicking Add Attribute, provided a title and what type of information it is. In this case, you can have this attribute be just a simple text field that you type information into. You can have it be a date or a drop list. So let's, for instance, place a date in here and call this date received from the architect. And now we have a new attribute, new column here, and we can simply click the edit button, and we have now a calendar picker. So we can select which date that was received and do that for each of our drawings. The next piece of information I want to share with you is that you can have multiple projects within BIM 360 Docs, And you can switch between each of those projects here up at the project navigator. So in this case, I've been assigned or I own 3 different projects, and those are visible here. And simply clicking on them will switch me to that project. Next, we're going to talk about the profile and administration tools built into BIM 360 Docs. Over here off to the right where we have our profile, there's a little settings button we'll talk about here. So in the settings, we have 2 options here, account administration and project administration. So we're going to talk about project administration first. So I'll click on project administration, and the administrators have the ability to add members and re-invite people who maybe have not accepted the invitation yet. Account administrators have the ability to create new projects, add new users, add companies and so forth. They're the ones that really set the project up. So we have our dashboard as an account administrator. You have visibility of the dashboard. And so this dashboard shows you information about your account and subscription of BIM 360 Docs, how many projects you've activated, and the various companies that you have involved. Below that is the current projects, and here you can add new projects or manage the current projects that you have. Below that is the members. Here you would add members to your account so that they can be accessed in the projects. And then companies. Below companies, you have the account settings. Here is where you would create new administrators, account administrators. So you could have multiple administrators on a single account. All right, so let's go back to our document list here. We're now going to talk about permissions that you can assign in the project. And this is specific to your folders and who can have access to them and who can't and what they can do. So in our plans view, simply clicking up here on the top left under folder settings brings me into my permissions for this particular folder. And this would be the same for shop drawings and your project files, etc. So under the plans view, we have our permissions set. Now you have your default permission level. Below you can see that these users have different settings, and you can adjust those by simply bringing your mouse up and down and sorting through publish view, edit, and control. Control, of course, gives complete control of the project documents in this particular folder. And each person can be assigned a different setting. You can enter roles and companies and give roles and companies separate permissions within the plans folder, shop drawings folder, or your project files. So we'll leave the folder settings here and go into our document publishing and versioning. So this is where I'm going to show you the process for uploading a document, and this is really where your document control comes into play. So I'm going to go ahead and click upload. We'll upload a file here for demonstration. I'm going to select this architectural DD set that I received. Click open. And when we get this dialog box here, you'll see that they want me to select a title block. We're not going to do that at the moment. We're going to go ahead and leave that as none, and I'll show you in just a second why. But we'll click upload. So the nice thing about BIM 360 Docs is while that document is uploading, I can continue to work. Okay, so our document is finished uploading, and you'll see down at the bottom right a little notification that says I need to add a title block. So we'll click here, and this is where we can define a title block. So in order to do this, first we can identify the name of this title block, and we'll call this our architectural DD set. And these drawings are 42 by 30. Next we'll go ahead and view the current file. If we knew of another document that was very similar in title block, we could use it as well, but typically when you're uploading a document from an architect, the title block might shift or might be slightly different. So that's why I like to wait till after the document has been published, or excuse me, uploaded, before I select the title block. So we're going to go ahead and view the current file. And so this is the file that I just uploaded. And what I'm going to do is zoom into the title block area and crop around it here. So now that I have the title block cropped in, I can select areas of the title block that have the information I want to pull from the drawing to update my files with. So I'll go ahead for the number, I'll select an area, and you'll see that it automatically updates as it reads the information here. and the title. This is a site plan, so I'm going to grab this entire area because this might be bigger for various sheets. Again, and remember, I have a lot of sheets that this is going to automatically update for me, so I got to account for that. The title of the sheet might be a little bit longer, so we want to make sure and cover the entire area. And once that's done, I'll go ahead and click Save, and then my documents will process in the background. Okay, now that our files have uploaded with the title block established, we can go ahead and review the drawings by clicking here at this notification at the bottom right, or by going up to our Publish log. You'll see that we have a new notification here. So I'll go ahead and click Review. So in our review window, we get a picture of the drawing with the title block, and then an opportunity to just double check the information that Autodesk has uploaded for us. So in this case, we have A303 interior elevations. This one here needed a double check, so it interpreted a 0 as an O, so I can just simply click that and change that to a 1, and you go through and double check each of these drawings, and when you're good with the drawing, hit Publish. Now that our drawings have been published, we can see in our thumbnail view a ribbon that says that that drawing has been updated. So here you can see this was the document that we just uploaded today. We have a new banner located there. So document control becomes a lot easier when doing our digital slip sheeting, because we can upload a document and assign a title block. And that title block will input all the information that we need to for our drawing name and number, and it will reversion the drawing as well and let us know that now we have 2 versions of this drawing. So let's go ahead and take a look at our drawings here. And you can see when viewing drawings, it's been processed on the Autodesk servers so that it's very easy to view and very clear when viewing in a web browser. The detail, you can zoom all the way in and it stays very crisp and clear. Off to the left here we have our issues pane, our markup pane, and then our versions. And you can see here off to the left our versioning history. We have version 1 and version 2, and it tells you when and what time and by who the document was updated. So let's talk about marking up a document. Off to the left here I have a little markups pane. We can add a markup by simply clicking the Add, and that brings up a new toolbar, or by going down below here to our Add New Markup tool. So some of the tools that we have access to is a simple draw tool. We can place clouds, arrows, circles, and rectangles and so forth, as well as adding text. So if I needed to mark up this particular line here and draw an arrow and add some text, we can do so. After I've placed a markup, I can go ahead and select Done. And the markup will be saved and located over here into our markups pane. And we can add as many markups as we need to. Let's go back to our document view, our list view here. I'd like to show you a feature in BIM 360 Docs that allows us to view 2 documents together by overlaying them. So let's take a look at our sheet GA 6.50 shade structure. We see here that there's 4 different versions of this drawing, and I'd like to take a look and compare the latest 2 versions of this drawing and see what's changed. So by hovering my mouse over the thumbnail, I get a little preview here, and there's a little icon to the top right that lets me compare drawings. And here I can select which versions of the drawing I'd like to compare. In this case, we'll compare version 3 and version 4, which is the current. You can see here that it's marked current. Click Compare. And what it's going to do is open up the documents and lay them on top of each other. And you can see when I zoom in here that there's been some changes with this particular detail, number 7. And I can switch between the 2 versions by using the slide tool. And what it does is put a little slider in between them in the middle of the screen, and I can slide this back and forth between the 2 documents and see what has changed from one to the other. So you can see version 3 is on the left and version 4 is on the right. I can switch back to my stacked view, and see exactly how these things have changed one on top of the other. Now, if you noticed when using this tool that maybe the documents weren't lined up correctly, and that can happen a lot of times when a design team updates drawings and they shift the details around just ever so slightly to make one fit. And then when you lay the two documents exactly on top of each other, the details don't quite line up. So if that's the case, you can go to our Align tool and you can simply drag one around and line it up to where it needs to go for the comparison. Select the line and then you're done. So that's the document comparison feature. Another powerful feature in BIM 360 Docs that I wanted to share is that PDFs are not the only type of document you can view with the software. If I scroll down to the bottom of my screen here, you can see that I have some Revit models that have been uploaded to my library. These Revit models can be viewed directly in the BIM 360 Docs viewer. So we don't need any kind of special software to view these models. So the viewer is very nice. I have a tool for orbiting around, which you've seen me do here. And then adjacent to the pan, I have a zoom tool and ability to walk through the model. But also what's just pretty neat is they have a section tool. So I can add a section in the drawing and adjust that back and forth on all the different planes. So I can adjust my planes here. So pretty neat sectioning tools. Again, this is I'm viewing this right in my web browser. You can also, since this is a collaborative piece of software, you can add markups. So I can place a markup. Let's add a cloud here. And we'll say add signage. And this will be visible for everyone on the job team that has access to this particular folder. I'll click done, and of course off to my left I've now got a markup that I can view. And as I'm moving around and orbiting, the markup disappears, but it's still over here in my markups tab. So if I want to view it again, I simply click here and it takes me right to that screenshot where the markup was placed. And just like our documents, we have versioning history here, so you can see what version of the Revit file was uploaded. One thing to note too with Revit files, we demonstrated that when publishing a multi-paged PDF, that the software is able to recognize that there's multiple pages. It's able to assign a sheet name and number and then upload it into the correct version. What the software is also capable of is taking the sheets that have been generated directly from a Revit model. So you can upload a Revit model, such as this one here, and any sheets that were created inside the Revit model will be uploaded into your plan set here, and the versions will be updated as well. So along with having access to the latest and greatest versions of your drawings here on a web browser and having that access available to everybody on the team, they also have access to those documents in the field on their mobile device, such as this iPad or an iPhone. So I'm going to show you what the interface of BIM 360 Docs looks like in the mobile application. So this is obviously an iPad we're viewing here, and you can see that I've got all of my documents that are in my plans view behind me here. These are all available to me on the iPad. And viewing the documents is very quick. It's been optimized for iPad viewing, and you can zoom in and pinch and move around just as you would with any other kind of iPad application. So this document here, you can see I have at the top here, you have next to your sheet name, you have versioning available. So I can view the different versions of this drawing by clicking on version 1 or version 2. And you'll notice that as I switch back and forth between version 1 and 2, when I'm on an older version of the document, there's an orange exclamation mark that comes up next to the document name. It lets me know that I'm viewing an old version of the document. Obviously that's important when you're building. So version 2, when I click to the latest version, that exclamation mark goes away. Down at the bottom right of the two arrows, I can switch back and forth between the next sheet in the set. So that was A001. Now we're at A101. At the top right, there's a little arrow, and this is where I can view any issues or markups that were created on this document. And down at the bottom left, I can hide or show markups on the document as well. So I'm going to go ahead and close this document out because I want to show you that you can view not just PDFs that have been uploaded to the plan set, but you can also view your Revit model. So I'm going to click on this Revit model at the top left of the screen, and it opens up the model that we're reviewing in the web browser earlier. And I can zoom in and pan around and through this model, which is pretty neat. What's nice about this is this is a very easy way to view models for people out in the field. You don't have to be a technical expert to reference and view the model. Now, if you wanted to maybe view only certain elements within the model, at the top right, you have this little arrow. And when I click on that, you can see that I have all the model browser opens up, and I can go through and select elements within the model that I want to view. So I can drill down to maybe just the structural columns. And what's nice is that the model view, it grays everything else out so that I can still see where it is in space, but then I can see more clearly where these structural columns are. Maybe for instance, I've got the windows, and you can see when I expand my little Windows browser, I have some additional options here. So maybe I just want to view the fixed windows, or maybe just the ones with slider and trim. So lots of options with viewing your model and making it easier to see what it is that you're working on. Again, up at the top, you have your issues and markups available, should there be any on this, that you can navigate through here right in the field. And then at the top, the Revit models also are versioned. So if you had more than one version of a Revit model, you'd be able to navigate those here. Up at the top left in my viewer, you have these three bars, and when I click there, this is my project library. Very similar as I'll show you here behind me. This is our plans, shop drawings, and project files. So they correlate exactly with our plans, shop drawings, and files. When I click on files here, you can see here are the same files that are available to me off to the left in my browser. So I can drill through and view the various files that are located in the project. And then of course we have our shop drawings where I can go and view any shop drawings that have been posted and approved. So that's the mobile application. It's very simple, which is great for when you're in the field. You don't want the software or the technology to get in the way. You just want to be able to get to it very quickly and view what you need to view while you're in the field and move on. So that's our BIM 360 Docs presentation today. And now we will go through and answer any questions that have been written in during the presentation.